What if I told you you can stop texting, begging, and chasing people to make them become obsessed with you? That your silence based on assumption is the most attractive power you will ever possess. This isn't seduction. This is manifestation. And in this video, I'm going to teach you how to manifest their obsession without saying a single word. Just think about it, and it is done. Have you ever loved someone so deeply that their absence became louder than their presence ever was? I did once, and like many, I was tempted to reach out, to call, to explain, to justify my love with words. But something within me whispered, don't text, don't chase, assume. So I sat in silence, not out of ego or pride, but out of certainty. I shut my eyes and imagined that they were already mine, crazily in love, deeply committed, and missing me in ways they couldn't articulate. I felt the heat of their body beside me, listened to their voice ringing out in a laugh that never escaped the room. And above all, I felt the strong pull, not from them to me, but from inside me. Days went by, and then came the message, the call, the confession. I don't know why, but I can't stop thinking about you. And I smiled because I knew why. I knew because I had created their fixation. The minute you cease texting, you cease insisting on absence. By opting for silence, you let the imagination scream louder than a word possibly could. Your assumption that they're already obsessed with you becomes the prevailing vibration you have. In actuality, being the obedient mirror, it reflects faithfully. In order to bring forth a particular person, you cannot look at what is, but live in what is imagined. When your mind harbors even 1 second of doubt, 1 moment of why haven't they messaged, you are confirming their lack of interest. But if you dare to believe that they already yearn for you, your inner reality starts to impress on the outer. The law of assumption in love does not operate by force. It operates by faith. You do not make someone obsessed by pleading for attention. You assume they already losing sleep over you. This belief, when believed as natural, reprograms your subconscious mind and sets up conditions that feel like destiny. When you pursue, you radiate lack. But if you sit in your mind quietly, aware that they are yours, you become a vibrational match for love. You have to shift from wanting them to possessing them in the quiet of your mind. And that quiet is loud to others' subconscious. To bring about someone to miss you, you don't wait for a call or a message. You provide it to yourself in fantasy. Envision them walking, pondering, fixated on you. Make it feel real, until it feels so real, you feel sorry for them, for how much they need your presence. The method is not calling or texting. The method is inner awareness. Your strength is in believing that you are the only one they can think of. This will start to change your mind's diet, and out of that change comes the proof. Messages, emails, admissions that coincide with your belief. Your love self-concept is where obsession begins. If you think you are forgettable, you will be. But if you think you are unforgettable, attractive, irresistible, that is who you become. Individuals will pursue you without knowing why. Telepathic manifestation does exist. Your emotions radiate. Your silence communicates. When you think with emotion, you send signals that cut through the subconscious of your particular individual. You become their inner voice. You haunt them pleasantly. That is where obsession starts. Inside, unseen, inescapable. As soon as you discontinue texting, you discontinue assuring absence. That is a truer statement than it initially appears. For to text someone out of desperation or yearning is to admit inwardly, I do not yet have. And this admission, while subtle, is a creative activity. Every inner movement is a creation. You are not conveying a message to a human being. You are impressing your subconscious with the thought of lack. And the subconscious, being impersonal, obedient, and tireless, gives forth whatever you plant in it. And so when you text someone from a place of fear or emergency, you are not bringing you closer. You are strengthening separation. But silence, real silence, is not just the lack of words. It is the availability of assumption. It is the quietness of knowing. When you cease to reach outward, you start reaching in. And that internal movement is the very key to change. Your imagination is the creative function by which everything is brought into being. If you cease to talk to the individual outwardly, but still talk to them inwardly, in fear, doubt, or longing, you are still creating from limitation. But the minute you substitute those inner dialogues with ones of assurance, with sensations of it is already so, you change your reality completely. Let us comprehend something basic. There is no external world outside of your experience of it. The world which seems to be independent of you is merely a shadow of your inner conditions. If someone seems far, it is not because they are distinct from you in reality, but because you have held an inner condition of not being wanted. Shift that inner condition, and the outer shape has to agree. So how do you prevent affirming absence without saying a word? You take their presence as a given. You imagine what you would imagine if they were already infatuated with you, not simply occasionally thinking about you, but drawn to you magnetically, powerless to stop scanning their phone, driven by an urge they cannot describe. And you stay in that assumption, not only during meditation, but also throughout the day. It becomes your inner residence. This is the power of controlled imagination. When you stop chasing, you are not surrendering your desire. You are claiming it in its most potent form. Chasing implies it is still out of reach. Silence implies it is already yours. Silence implies it is already yours. This silence is not passive. It is not numb indifference. It is vibrant with inner speech, rich with unseen activity. You know their love, their attention, their obsession, as if it is self-evident. And from this place of taken-for-granted truth, you do nothing on the outside because you have done everything on the inside. Now ask yourself, when you envision your desire being actualized, are you just hoping for it or living from it? Are you envisioning as a watcher or as the one who already owns? The distinction between the two is the distinction between delay and manifestation. The one that envisions out of fulfillment moves differently, speaks differently, thinks differently. Its silence is not vacuity, it is authority. You have to get that everything reacts to your inner condition, not to your outer struggle. You can text somebody 1,000 times and be transparent to their heart. But suppose once and deeply feel it real, and you become irascible because you have impressed that reality upon the sole medium of importance, the subconscious. That person you're looking for is not apart from you. They are within you as a concept, an idea, a picture, and the state you find yourself in defines the picture you behold. If you are in the state of I am not chosen, then the person embodies that role. If you move up into the state of I am desired beyond words, then they must fall into line, not by coercion, but by the law of reflection. You cannot cheat the mirror by scratching on its face. You will have to alter your face, the inner man. When you cease to text, you're no longer playing in the game of separation. You're going back to the source of causation, always within and in stillness, in silence. You become magnetic. When you're aware they're already yours, you don't ask, you don't beg, you don't chase. You live from the end, and living from the end is living in truth. All else is illusion. So if you want their fixation, let it be conceived in quiet. Let it be sculpted in the holy ground of your mind. Pull your senses inward from the world and dine on the sensation of being loved. Let them pursue you in fantasy, dream of you in sleep, grope in awe. Why can't I get over them? Because you have the courage to stop denying absence. You dare to be still, and in that stillness, you became irresistible. To manifest a specific person, you must not look at what is, but live in what is imagined. This is not a poetic suggestion. It is a precise instruction. The outer world, the text that hasn't arrived, the silence from their side, the coldness of current circumstances. These are not facts. They are reflections. And a reflection has no authority except that which you grant it. When the eye perceives no change, the heart too readily succumbs to doubt. But that is precisely the moment you are being challenged in your knowledge of reality. You are not here to respond. You are here to create, and creation starts not with action, but with assumption. The moment you glance at the absence of communication and state, this means they do not care. You have sown the seed of separation. The seed will grow, not because they do not care, but because you declared the image as ultimate truth. But there is a greater vision, an unseen law that decrees the world must reflect your internal climate. So alter the climate. This is to say, when the external facts are quiet, you don't affiliate with them. You contradict them from the inside. You stand fearlessly in fantasy and declare, they love me madly, even when they last spoke months ago. You declare, they can't stay away from me, even when your phone is silent. This contradiction is not fantasizing. It is creation. Everything manifestation depends on one central thought. Feel it real. Not want it, not wish it, not hope, but sense it as actual now. If you visualize the dinner but still sense being alone, you have not created. But if you visualize walking with them, hearing their voice, seeing their eyes brighten in adoration, and you sense that it is actual, then you are no longer visualizing, you are living. The imagination is where you live, not where you vacation. You don't meditate once a day and go into the state of being loved, and then live in terror for the other 23 hours. You have to move into the state and not come out. You have to view yourself as already together, already loved, already claimed, and from that state you live. Let me be clear, that which you accept within yourself becomes your reality outside. You cannot covet what you feel you are lacking, and term it faith. Yearning is evidence that you expect it to be, not yet yours. Real assumption knows the unseen as present and lives on that basis. If you knew they were desiring you now, thinking of you with every breath, how would you hold yourself? Would you fret, or would you rest assured? That rest is strength. That rest is faith. There is a deep deception into which many fall, the lie that what they see is more actual than what they feel. But feeling is the flesh of reality. The senses are sluggish, they fall behind. What you sense now will prescribe what the senses will reveal later. So if you want to have them come to you, don't pursue the picture, produce it, construct it within your mind, walk upon it, speak from it, think from it, and it will solidify into reality. Your imagination is not a theater where fantasies act. It is the workshop of God. Every scene you run inwardly is building the road ahead. They don't have to know. They don't have to consent. They don't even have to help. What you require is discipline, learning to look away from the appearances and select the inner sight repeatedly until it becomes second nature. When the world insists they are gone, you insist they are mine. When it insists they've gone on, you insist they can't forget me. Not to mislead yourself, but to awaken the truth that the world outside is but a canvas, painted by your persistent inner state. If you get into the practice of dwelling in what is conceived, you will find the conceived is actualized. You will see their energy shift, their words change, their presence materialize, and you will not be surprised because you have already experienced it in the unseen. There is a principle that underlies all creation. It is the law of assumption, and that law dictates what you assume to be true, though not seen, must become visible. So to bring a certain person into your life, you do not wait for the proof. You make it happen, not by controlling them, but by taking control of your own inner reality. You are not hostage to timing. You are not slave to their mood swings. You are the cause, and your assumption is the seed. So only what you want to reap. Live only in the home you want to build. Speak only from the love you know is yours. For if you will dare to continue to imagine and refuse to go back into the old condition, the one you love will return, not as a stranger, but as one irresistibly attracted to the vibration you have sustained. And then you will understand it. It was not the words, not the waiting, not the effort, but the inner acceptance that determined the outcome. The law of assumption in love is not based on force. It is based on faith. You do not bring somebody closer by begging, by monitoring the phone in earnest, or by refreshing your messages in desperation. That route is not the route of power. It is the way of helplessness. If you attempt to make one another obsessed by means of outer action, then you are testifying to your own awareness that you don't think they already are. Your lack of faith is the only obstacle that keeps you from the manifestation you seek. The law operates not by what you do, but by what you hold as true. So if you visualize them not responding and then go and attempt to force an outcome, you are affirming your doubt. You are moving from fear, and fear is a creator in itself. All begins with the inner world. The one who resides in faith does not require proof. The proof is the feeling. The evidence is in believing that there is already love, even before it is evident. Faith, well understood, is not hope. It is inner knowledge. It is the utter acceptance of a state before there is the slightest indication that it exists. This is how obsession is realized, not by persuading some other person to love you, but by insisting they do, and insisting upon it so persistently, so devoutly, that reality has no option but to curve in accordance with your conviction. It's frequently asked how to get someone obsessed. The response is not in them, but in you. Do you actually believe you're somebody worth being obsessed with? Do you feel selected, unique, irresistible? Or do you harbor silently a belief that others exit, love dwindles, attention is always fleeting? Whatever the belief you hold is, the belief you hold will design your world. To change someone's emotions, you have to change your own first. And that starts with remaking yourself, not based on what has been, but based on what you want. If you wish them to be obsessed, you have to first believe you are the sort of individual who inspires such obsession. You must believe you are magnetic, irreplaceable, divine. This belief is the signal you give, and that signal will not remain unanswered. But this faith should be quiet. It should be unshakable. It does not bellow, it does not quarrel, it does not glance at the clock, it bides, it moves forward, even when the external world is not changed. For it knows, with inner certainty, that what is known within must find expression without. You can say, "But I don't yet see evidence," and I reply, "Then look not outside for it." The evidence starts in imagination. The external world is always an afterbeat of what has been assumed. If you hold on to the sense of being loved, of being missed, of being yearned for with passion, that sense will coalesce. The individual does not have to realize what's compelling them, but they will sense the tug, and that tug is nothing but your assumption, clothed in their being. You are not to use the law mechanically. You are not to recite affirmations as magical incantations. They work only when they evoke the sense of the wish granted. Sense that they are calling, texting, thinking, missing, not merely as a mental image, but as a sense in your very being. That sense is the seed, and seeds don't yell to grow, they expand quietly. Faith is your joining with the unseen. It is the union of your wish and your faith. If you proclaim they are fixated but question in your own mind, it is hollow words. But if you declare it once and fully believe it, that one assumption will accomplish more than 1,000 frantic acts. The law doesn't concern itself with how long they've been away, how stubborn they appear, or what they're saying with their mouths. The law is only interested in your inner belief. Shift your belief and you shift their action. Not because you're coercing them, but because you're now in the only place they feel attracted to you for no reason. Imagine how it must feel to be wanted so intensely that they can think of nothing else. Imagine the letter coming, the letter seeping with feeling, the eyes lighting up at the sight of you. Now remain in that scene. Make it your reality. Make it truer than the senses indicate. For that scene, when stamped upon the subconscious through faith, forms the basis of your destiny. And so you exist, not waiting, not wondering, but knowing. Knowing you are no longer the version of yourself who wishes to be loved. You are the one who is loved. You do not seek fixation. You inspire it because you have taken your place as the only one they are thinking about, dreaming about, and requiring. This is not compulsion. It is divine confidence. The quiet authority that comes when you no longer beg reality to change, but command it through the invisible law of belief. In order to bring about love, to bring about obsession, one has to learn the basic distinction between chasing and allowing. Chasing is the external manifestation of lack. It is the body responding to a mind that is possessed by absence. It is saying, "I don't have, so I have to chase." This vibration is big, needy, and it can be felt. It repels the object of desire because it sends out a vibration of neediness, which repels instead of attracts. In contrast, allowing is the subtle power of recognizing what you want already belongs to you. Allowing is the inner condition of being, not the outer motion of seeking. When you stop pursuing, you stop vibrating lack. You transfer energy from wanting to receiving. This is a subtle but deep shift. It is the distinction between a flame that burns nervously and a solid light that attracts moths from miles away. In this place of permitting, you become the manifestation of your desire. You do not push things or manipulate wills. You just are as the magnetic hub of your envisioned world. This presence draws attention effortlessly. Individuals gravitate toward it, organically, because it attracts through the law, that like attracts like. The concept of chasing suggests going after something external to oneself, as if the desired individual is a trophy to be obtained. Manifestation, however, operates from the inside out. The desire must first be satisfied internally before the external world can comply. The instant you cease to chase, you take back your power. You no longer give your energy away to fear and doubt, and start investing it in faith and knowing. Think about the essence of waves on water. When you extend your hand to catch the wave, it runs past your fingers. Yet when you stand still, the water comes up to you. This analogy describes perfectly manifestation in love. The process of pursuing dissipates your energy. The process of permitting confines it. Practically speaking, permitting is experiencing the truth of your desire, as though it were already so. It is to live in the mental and emotional place of being loved, without the need for external validation. It is not a fleeting meditation or fleeting daydream. It is an enduring sense of self. You walk around with it in every thought, with every breath, the person you want will sense this vibration. Even if subconsciously, your silence, your confidence, your not chasing sends a strong message. I am not needy, I am desirable. This message sparks an attraction force within them, moving them to come to you, to become fixated on your presence. Allowing is also a trusting action. It is trust of the unseen law that regulates manifestation. It is trust that the universe or your inner awareness will line up the circumstances to manifest your desire into physical reality. This trust calms the mind and comforts the heart, replacing worry with peace. You get into a pattern of worry and letdown when you pursue, because your fulfillment rests on others' approval. But when you let go, your fulfillment does not depend on the external world. It is from within. This independence renders you invincible in the area of manifestation. There is also a shift in your self-image. When you quit pursuing and begin allowing, you transition from the pursuer's identity to the prize's identity. This change alters the way you move about, the way you relate to others, and the way the world reacts to you. You start sensing shifts in the behavior of the object of your desire. They start calling more, displaying signs of interest, or merely thinking of you more frequently. These are not accidents. They are natural repercussions of what has happened within you. Manifestation is not about controlling others. It is about self-mastery. In leaving the chase behind, you master your feeling, your thinking, and your beliefs. You become the author of your experience instead of a victim of circumstance. In this place of allowing, you practice patience, not the frustration of waiting, but the peace of knowing that what you desire is already in motion. This patience is a strong attractor because it demonstrates that you have complete faith in the result. Lastly, permitting is the very definition of love, not only for another human being, but for yourself as well. It respects your value and your potential. It affirms that you have the right to be loved, to be obsessed with, without needing to prove it or pursue it. When you express allowing, you emit a light that cannot be denied. That light attracts others to you inescapably. And that is how obsession is really created, not in force or pursuit, but in the gentle, unmovable presence of knowing you are already loved. In order to manifest that a person misses you, you need to realize first that real manifestation does not come from outside situations, but from the inner place you decide to reside in. The emptiness that you feel is just a projection of the thoughts and emotions you hold within you. The more you concentrate on their silence, their absence, and their lack of contact, the more you maintain a state of disconnection. This reinforcement fixes in your mind the idea that you are forgotten, unwanted, or unimportant. But the law of consciousness presents you with a deep alternative, to take the experience of being missed as your current reality. When you picture the other person pacing, wondering, and fixating on your absence, you are not merely fantasizing. You are sowing a seed in the rich soil of your subconscious mind. This seed, watered by emotion and supposition, will sprout and yield corresponding experience. The secret is the feeling. You have to feel the integrity of their yearning, as intensely and richly as you would feel your own presence at their side. It is the feeling that infuses the invented scene with creative energy. To develop this sense, you don't have to do anything external. Manifestation is not about text, not about calls, not about running after anything. Rather, it calls for an inner commitment to the truth of your wish granted. You need to live in that reality completely, with the feelings of being remembered, missed, and yearned for, infusing every fiber of your body. This inner condition is your new self, one that does not depend on anybody's seal of approval. Most fail at this point because they confuse hoping or wishing with feeling. Wishing is passive and doubtful, a wish being a wanting without complete faith. Feeling is active and assured. It is emotional, knowing that your want is already true. If you feel that the one you love is thinking about you, you talk directly with the subconscious, the creative power within you which constructs your experience. This procedure calls for vivid, detailed, and effective imagination. Visualize the individual in a moment of peaceful contemplation, their mind wandering irresistibly to you. Visualize the micro-expressions, the furrowed brow, the absent-minded look at their phone, the sigh of yearning. Visualize their heart pounding faster at the mere mention of your name. These small things are not minor. They are the language of the subconscious and the blocks for your manifestation. You have to realize that your imagination cannot be fleeting or superficial. It has to be the overriding melody of your internal dialogue. If the story in your head is in constant flux between having doubts and wanting it, you undermine the potential of your assumption. To manifest successfully, You need to keep the scene in place, refusing to see the apparent contradictions of your external world. This consistent imagining becomes mental training. It is a training of continually going back to feeling missed. Similar to a gardener caring for a plant, you nurture the imagined reality until it feels like second nature. Over time, this internal reality spills over into the external world, changing conditions and actions. You might ask how something invisible can affect another individual. The response rests in the interdependence of consciousness. Your state sends out a vibrational frequency that synchronizes with the individual you want. It awakens their subconscious mind, evoking emotions they might not be aware of on a conscious level. The vibration is like an invisible thread that pulls them towards you. This is not manipulation, it's alignment. When your inner state of being perfectly aligns with the feeling of being missed, you build a magnetic field that draws your particular person to you. Their actions become an inevitable result of this alignment. They might reach out, think about you more often, or feel an intense emotional longing that has them seek you out. The secret to maintaining this manifestation is to be detached from the result. Detachment is not about being indifferent. It is about trusting the process and not giving in to anxiety or impatience. Anxiety and impatience are resistance vibrations that push your desire away. Trust, by contrast, is an allowance vibration that allows your desire to come towards you easily. As you step into this state, you notice delicate changes, not only in the individual whom you are desiring to bring forth, but also within yourself. You feel more empowered, more at peace, and more confident. You become self-assured regardless of the approval of others, rooted instead in the assurance of your creative authority. This interior shift is the actual basis of manifestation. In a sense, to manifest someone to miss you is to be the living proof of being missed. You are a reflection of the love, attention, and yearning you want to be reciprocated. This reflection is like a mirror that encourages the other to return in kind. The external world can only reflect the internal fact you continue to uphold. Recall, manifestation is not a trick, but a natural principle. Just as the seed to the great tree grows, your invented feelings root and grow over time. Inner patience and persistence are essential. The more regularly you feel the truth of being missed, the more inevitable its manifestation becomes. By becoming skilled in this inner discipline, you free yourself from the necessity of pursuing or begging. You move into the strength of silent awareness, in which your wanting is answered by the invisible powers at play within and around you. This strength is beyond all outer conditions, and recreates your world from the inside out. In order to comprehend the real technique involved in manifesting a particular person's fixation, you need to understand the deep power of inner knowing. This power is not derived from external efforts like messaging or calling, but rather from the conviction you build inside. Your conscious mind tends to validate things with the outer world, but manifestation emanates from the inner world of your subconscious, where the real belief lies and molds reality. The method is not a set of outer actions, it is a state within. When you are in the state of knowing that the one you want is already smitten with you, you stop the tiring process of pursuing and mistrusting. This knowing is like a magnet, and it attracts irresistibly. The paradox is this: by giving up the desire to manage the outside, you take complete management of your inside, and from there, the outside adjusts. To embody this place of knowing, you have to first calm the restless mind. The mind that ponders, have they texted, do they think of me, is caught in a cycle of uncertainty and longing, which cancels out your creative power. Rather, look within and sense the truth of their fixation, as if it were something real. Sense their desire, their thoughts about you, their inability to stay away from you. This is not wishful thinking, but a deliberate exercise of taking up the space in one's own heart and mind, of the gratified desire. This conscious selection is the key to mental diet, the discipline of observing and regulating your thoughts and emotions to keep you in harmony with your preferred reality. Your subconscious mind cannot tell the difference between what is vividly imagined and what is actually felt. It takes what you impress upon it repeatedly, with feeling as truth. So, it's vital that you use high-quality imagination. When you constantly imagine your own person fixated on you, not only do you solidify your inner conviction, but you also reprogram your subconscious to embrace this truth. Your behavior, attitude, and vibrations change accordingly, even though you are unaware of it consciously. This unconscious shift is what other people notice and react to. It is the silent power of your inner knowledge made tangible. You do not require their acquiescence or awareness for this manifestation to occur. Your interior world is the actual causative force. The individual's actions, emotions, and thoughts start to correspond to the frequency you resonate at. This is the cornerstone of what we refer to as telepathic manifestation, that your assumptions and emotions send signals outside the physical realm, affecting others' thoughts and emotions. It is not a mysterious or paranormal thing. It is a natural result of consciousness meeting consciousness. When you fully participate in the assumption that they are obsessed, your frequency matches theirs, and there is a magnetic attraction. It is such that two tuning forks resonate in harmony. One resonates and the other will respond. The strength of this method is its simplicity and depth. It takes no manipulation, no strains of persuasion, only the unyielding holding to an inner truth. Holding to this requires discipline, since the outside world is likely at times to deny your assumptions. You might observe silence, distance, or indifference, but you must not allow these appearances to determine your inner state. Your reality is constructed from the inside out, and not from the outside in. In practice, this means cultivating a daily habit of imagining your specific person as obsessed with you. Picture moments where their attention is wholly fixed on you, where their thoughts circle around your presence, and where their desire is evident even in their silence. Engage your senses in this mental scene. Hear the tone of their voice, see the expression on their face, feel the warmth of their gaze. The more sensory information you put in, the more real it is to your subconscious. In addition to vivid imagination, develop the sense of certainty that this is already your current reality. Do not imagine in case it may happen, but as if it is currently happening. Experience the joy, the thrill, and the serenity that arise from fulfilled longing. This feeling is your emotional signature of your manifestation. As you continue in this state of awareness, your external world must bend to it. The law of consciousness bows to your prevailing state, not to sporadic thoughts or infrequent doubts. Your steadiness impresses your subconscious mind and puts your vibrational frequency in harmony with the intended result. The being you bring about starts reflecting your internal reality, displaying signs of fixation in words, behaviors, or even slight physical gestures. You could also experience their interest growing, more messages, phone calls, or interest expressions. At times, the shift comes as an unexplainable draw, an unforeseen remembering of you, or transformation in their energy around you. These are testimonies to your inner effort bearing fruit. It is crucial to understand that this method spans time and space. Regardless of whether you are physically distant or not, your assumption creates their awareness and attracts them emotionally and mentally. The material world will eventually meet the level of reality you have sustained internally. To fully own this awareness means to own your position as creator of your experience. You are no longer subject to circumstances, someone else's choice, or outside things. You're being empowered by what you can control your consciousness, and by doing so, steer the world around you. It is the supreme exercise of self-discipline. It instills patience, trust, and imagination power. It takes you out of despair and places you in divine confidence. It allows you to manifest not through force or struggle, but through quiet certainty and inner alignment. Your self-concept is what everything else builds on when it comes to manifestation. It is the unspoken blueprint that directs all your thoughts, emotions, and actions. In love and in obsession, your internal conviction about yourself dictates whether you are remembered and desired, or forgotten and disregarded. This idea is so important that it frequently remains at the unconscious level. Nevertheless, it quietly controls the world you live in. In order to bring about obsession, you need first to become the person who is irresistible and not forgettable. This transformation begins at the core of your being, where your deepest beliefs about yourself reside. If, at a deep level, you harbor a belief of being ordinary, unlovable, or forgettable, perhaps shaped by past experiences, rejections, or subtle self-doubts, that is precisely what the world will reflect back to you. It's like gazing into a mirror that doesn't lie. The image staring back is a direct echo of how you perceive yourself. External conditions, such as the behaviors of others or the circumstances of your relationships, do not independently dictate what you experience. Instead, they are mere projections of the self-image you hold within. This inner image acts as the filter through which reality is seen, interpreted, and ultimately created, coloring every interaction and opportunity that comes your way. To shift your self-concept takes conscious effort and consistent focus. It's not a passive process or a one-time event. It requires dedicated intention and repetition, much like tending to a garden that has been overgrown with weeds of negativity. Wishing upon a love or hoping someone will recognize your worth is insufficient. It leaves the power in the hands of chance or others. You have to actively rewrite the narrative you create of yourself in regards to love, dismantling old scripts that no longer serve you, and authoring new ones that empower. You need to view yourself as attractive, desirable, and special, not through the fleeting approval of others, but by virtue of claiming these attributes as your own inherent truth. This isn't about fabricating a false persona. It's about uncovering and affirming the qualities that are already part of your essence, waiting to be acknowledged and amplified. This change is not simply mental, confined to thoughts or affirmations recited in isolation. It needs to be experienced deeply and embodied completely, infiltrating every layer of your being, from your emotions to your physical presence. Imagine it as infusing your entire existence with a new essence, like dye-permeating fabric, until the color becomes inseparable from the material. As you sense yourself as unforgettable, your posture straightens, your vibe radiates a subtle yet compelling energy, and your presence commands attention without a word spoken. You move differently through the world, with a quiet confidence that alters the atmosphere around you. This shift is felt by others in a depth beyond language, operating on an intuitive, almost primal level. They are attracted not only to your looks or surface charm, but to the authentic core of who you are, the magnetic aura that emanates from a deeply rooted self-belief. The subconscious mind cannot be influenced by surface appearances or passing thoughts. It is a deeper, more primal force that acts upon the prevalent beliefs you have about yourself, shaping your reality like an unseen architect. If you have conditioned your self-concept to be an object of obsession through persistent inner work, your subconscious mind will bring into your life experiences and people that validate this notion. Opportunities for connection will arise naturally, synchronicities will unfold, and others will be drawn to you as if by an invisible thread. This is the law of correspondence in action, the principle that like attracts like, where your internal world faithfully corresponds to the external manifestations you encounter. Manifestation is the act of bringing this inner conviction into the tangible world, a process that unfolds organically once your foundation is solid. You do not achieve this through attempting to try harder in superficial ways, or by attempting to change others, such as forcing their attention or molding their perceptions. True power lies in transforming yourself from the inside out. When you have fully incorporated your desire into your sense of self, integrating it as an undeniable part of your identity, you no longer feel the compulsion to pursue or beg for affection. Rather, you emanate a confidence and conviction that attract others toward you naturally, like moths to a flame or rivers flowing toward the sea. This emanation creates a gravitational pull, where love and obsession become inevitable responses to your elevated state of being. Most people misperceive this process and only concentrate on outward actions, sending messages in hopes of sparking interest, scripting encounters to control outcomes, or altering their appearance to fit an ideal. Though these can have some impact, perhaps a temporary boost in visibility or initial attraction, they are external in nature and often fleeting, addressing symptoms rather than the root cause. They operate on the surface level, where real change is superficial and unsustainable. In contrast, the deep transformation that leads to lasting results comes when your self-concept changes fundamentally. The internal process rewiring your beliefs and embodying your worth comes before and creates the external outcome, ensuring that any actions you do take are aligned with authenticity and yield profound, enduring effects. To develop an indelible self-concept, start by looking at the stories you tell yourself, those quiet narratives that play in the background of your mind like an old, worn record. Pay attention to any thoughts of unworthiness, invisibility, or rejection that sneak in during moments of vulnerability, perhaps triggered by a silent phone or a fleeting memory. Gently combat these thoughts, not with harsh criticism, but with compassionate awareness, and substitute them with affirmations of your own special value and worthiness. This mind nutrition has to be regular and loving, a daily practice of feeding your psyche with positivity, much like nourishing your body with wholesome food. Affirmations alone aren't enough. Pair them with vivid imagery to make them stick. Imagine yourself being the one others cannot help remembering, the person whose presence lingers long after they've left the room. See their interest in the way eyes follow you, their yearning in unspoken glances, their respect in the subtle ways they seek your company. Experience the feelings that go with being deeply desired, the warmth of admiration, the thrill of being chosen, the peace of knowing your worth. Let this imagery seep into your mind until it becomes your new norm, a default lens through which you view yourself and the world. Over time, these visualizations will rewire your neural pathways, making the new self-concept feel as natural as breathing. This exercise has nothing to do with arrogance or false pride, which stem from insecurity and comparison. It is actually about discovering and reclaiming your true self, stripping away the layers of conditioning that have dimmed your light. Each individual carries a distinctive light, a unique combination of qualities, experiences, and essence that needs to be noticed, honored, and celebrated, both by yourself and eventually by others. Aligning with this reality helps you tap into the power of creating obsession naturally, without force or artifice. It's a return to authenticity, where your genuine radiance becomes the attractor. As your concept of self changes and evolves through this dedicated inner work, you will find yourself making small, organic changes in the way you interact with the world. Conversations flow more effortlessly, boundaries are set with grace, and opportunities for connection arise without effort. Others will begin to respond to you more out of interest, warmth, and attention, mirroring the elevated vibration you now embody. These are not random occurrences, but clear indicators that your inner change is radiating outward, reshaping your reality, and drawing in the obsession you desire. In this way, manifestation becomes a byproduct of self-mastery, where the world bends to reflect the unbreakable worth you've claimed as your own. Keep in mind that the self-concept is not static, it is fluid and sensitive to your direct effort. You can redefine it at any given time by altering your assumptions, feelings, and thoughts about yourself. This continuous process of self-reinvention is the foundation of all effective manifestation. It is the unseen string that integrates your inner reality with your external reality. The telepathic manifestation power is an insidious yet overwhelming truth that rules the intangible realm of human relation. It is the knowing that your interior feelings and assumptions don't just impact your own reality, but radiate outward, touching the consciousness of others. As you dream with emotion, you transmit invisible signals, vibrations that echo beyond your body. They make contact with the subconscious mind of the person you're interested in, awakening feelings, thoughts, and desires within him or her that match those of yours. This is not magic, but a natural law of consciousness. All thought and feeling has energy, a frequency that interfaces with the frequency of others. When you hold the feeling of obsession for yourself constantly, you transmit a continuous signal that cannot be avoided. It cuts through the veil of separation, linking minds and hearts in a dance of undetectable forces. To tap into this energy, you need to focus your imagination with clarity and intensity. Fanciful wishes and passing thoughts do nothing. Instead, you need to become fully immersed in the mental picture. Using all of your senses, visualize the one thinking about you constantly, missing you and being pulled to you. Listen to the unspoken words. Visualize the yearning in their eyes. Sense the pull between you. The more vivid and rich your imagination, the more telepathic signal you send. This telepathic connection goes beyond space and time. Even though you are physically separated, your inner condition establishes a bridge between their consciousness and yours. This bridge is constructed not on words or deed, but on sensation and assumption. The more you support this bridge, the more it becomes real to both of you. Note that this influence is done through resonance. You don't jam the other person's will. You tune into the same frequency. If your inner vibration becomes congruent with the emotional state of obsession, the other individual unconsciously mirrors, reflecting back to you the feelings you've impressed upon them. This two-way resonance creates a strong energetic connection that manifests in their mind, feelings, and even their behavior. Most don't realize how much influence their own inner world has on relationships. They work with outer behavior and attempt to manipulate or persuade others into action. However, manifestation is actually born of self-mastery. By managing your feelings and assumptions, you create attraction. Your telepathic messages bring about the reality you want, without the need for direct communication. This takes discipline and trust. The mind will vacillate, and doubt will arise, particularly when outside evidence does not appear to support it. But tenacity in your inner world is the answer. The subconscious mind and the laws of the universe react not to the passing doubts, but to the prevailing emotions you cultivate. Keep your telepathic concentration, and eventually it will flow out into the world. Telepathic manifestation also accounts for the deep experiences of rapport that cannot be explained logically and by distance. Individuals have reported sensing the presence of loved ones hundreds of miles away, understanding what they are feeling or thinking without being told. These phenomena are expressions of the energetic interchange that your concentrated imagination is able to produce. To effectively practice it, take time daily to strongly involve your senses in the fantasy landscape of fixation. Feel the tension, the yearning, the magnetic pull as if it were occurring in the present. Do this with conviction and perseverance. Have it become your emotional truth. Keep in mind, this has nothing to do with manipulating another human being's free will, but is rather about synchronizing your own energy to bring about the desired result organically. The law operates via attraction, not force. When your telepathic manifestation is authentic and coherent, it provokes a response from the universe and from the individual you want. In telepathic manifestation, you become a conscious creator. You develop the ability to use the power of your emotions and imagination to create reality, not just for you, but in subtle terms for others as well. This is the power of genuine manifestation that breaks through time, space, and the constraints of the physical world. Having traveled through the depth of manifestation, one realizes that real power does not come from outward pursuit, but from internal mastery. To manifest one's obsession, without text or chase, is to adopt the quiet certainty that what you want already belongs to you. It takes a flip from lack to abundance, from uncertainty to absolute faith, and from outside effort to deep internal knowing. You are the author of reality through your assumptions, emotions you cultivate, and self-image you radiate. As soon as you cease confirming absence and start living in the reality of their fixation, you bring your entire self into alignment with the magnetic power of love. This change extends outward, touching minds and hearts beyond the physical sphere. Manifestation is a craft of discipline, endurance, and belief. It is the still cultivation of scenes full of feeling, the unshakable refusal to yield to appearances, and the profound trust that the unseen law of consciousness will cause your desire to materialize. As you accept these realities, you move beyond chasing, text messaging, and pleading, entering instead into the field of effortless attraction. Keep in mind that the mind you hold creates the world you live in. Make a decision to live in the sense of being wanted, missed, and obsessed with. Be the personification of that truth, and observe how the external world effortlessly conforms to reflect your internal conviction. In this field, love comes easy, freely, and strongly. Your path to creating obsession is not a path of struggle, but of yielding. A yielding to the creative force within you that has no limits. Have faith in this force. Live from it, and create with assurance that what you have envisioned and experienced as actuality will, without exception, be your impenetrable reality.